like it has to be there. Because I think it's similar to the trend of manifestation. You think about things you want to happen in the future, and you don't think about, like, oh, maybe I do it like this. You think about them as if they are there. And so I think, can you start maybe, Ursula? What is your vision for the future? Where do you see yourself, others? I don't know. What's your vision?
Kindness. I think that this industry has been profoundly unkind.
True.
In fact, it designed itself on exploiting people, exploiting nature.
Can you be the president of Metaslavia fashion division?
Inclusive, on making people feel uncomfortable rather than comfortable. I mean,
Senior
if you go
advisor,
any fashion week
like
up until, well, not here, but you know, it's always about them and us. It's always about this barrier between the chosen few and the very, very many. And what I want to see is a total rebrand of the fashion industry. And you know,
right, total rebrand of the fashion industry. That's it.
As I am visionary, but as I said, granny here, remember, I've been here a long time, and many of the things that we were talking about 20 years ago, and there are some people here who were talking about these things 20 years ago, and we're getting closer to the type of behavior that I deem to be right for people. And so I want to see an industry where we co-create. I want to see an industry where we don't assume, but we genuinely do something good. And, you know, many, many years ago, I was sitting at a table with a whole bunch of fashionistas. I mean, very important fashionistas. And one of them, who is an extremely important person in the world of fashion, said, oh, but this sustainable fashion, these sustainable designers, they are so worthy. In what other language, apart from fashion language, can the word worthy be negative? So that's it for me. You know, I want to see an industry that takes into consideration kindness. We say it, you know, we want to put kindness center stage. This is why I'm really pleased to be supporting 4 designers from the Ukraine. But it's not us supporting them. It's the whole of the cohort supporting each other. The whole city supporting designers that need support, supporting their own designers. The future for this industry can only be one that takes into consideration how many people it touches and how it touches them. And that's the workers as it is the wearers. This industry is unkind to all, the people who make our clothes and the women and the other, you know, everybody who wears them. So that's my lying ahead.
And when we think about like touching people, Miriam, what do you think about like creating a diverse vision for the industry? We talked earlier about it, that if you're in some way are different than the rest of the people, they always assume or see you as an activist. Although you may not do anything special, you're just there living, minding your business, doing things that make fun. So what's your vision?
Yeah, so I think kindness is really, really the word that I was also looking for. Like when we all are more kind to each other, more understanding of each other, we don't, like maybe we stop arguing so much, and maybe there wouldn't be as many wars as they are, but this is like a bigger topic. So I think, while for me, as I told you, I was growing up and searching for fashion because I have this love and passion for fashion. Like this is, I've grown up, my grandmother was sewing clothes, my mother was doing bridal wear and everything. So I grew up in a family of, so many people doing things with their hands. So, and I was doing my own clothes because of the feeling that I didn't feel that I belong anywhere. So I was creating my own world. And growing up now, like you said, I was minding my business and just doing my thing and doing it peacefully. But then what happened after fashion school and when I started my first brand was that there was media telling really nice things about my brand, and then there were other media seeing it as an activist thing that maybe we don't want, and it's promoting something bad and stuff like that. So again, I found myself as a grown-up woman in the middle of something again. So, and I think it's hard when I told you, when you look like me and you do something maybe and people see it, they assume it has to be political. You cannot just do it just like that because you love fashion. You do it because you have something in mind. And that was something that was really hard for me the last few years. But yeah, like now I have the feeling with my new brand where I'm very like I don't use labels anymore. I don't say it's a modest brand or something because like, and I don't even say it's a sustainable brand because this should be something that should just be there. We all should just do sustainable fashion. Like, I don't know why other fashion should even exist. So that was the point. Like, thank you. People always, yeah, give labels, and we just want to live without labels. So just let us be.
Nice. So I want to go back to you because you're a lecturer as well. I think all of them are lecturers. They teach people nice stuff. So we are also very, very happy to have you here. Like, yeah, giving people something to learn, tell them about the future or the past or whatever. But what Miriam said, that there are always labels. And I think people like to think in labels because the world is easier if you have like words to describe it and also boxes to put people into it. And as a designer, as a journalist, or as someone who does art, people always say you have to find your niche. You have to find your passion, and your passion always have to be in some way specific, so people can say, oh, this is modern art, oh, this is like high street, this is this and that. What are you saying you're like the people you teach how to find themselves when everyone is like telling them to choose something?
Wow. I think from my own experience, what I have learned now that I'm teaching the students is to give them the opportunity to define who they are if they choose to do that. Being labelled a fashion designer or an artist or a photographer or a journalist is something that other people need in order to define what you do and who you are in the world. And I think it's super important that as creative people, as you know, if we're just starting out, if we're further on in our career and we decide to change paths, that's okay because we are creative people and we are generally see the world through creative eyes. And it's important to understand that you can work across discipline, and sustainability. Talking about sustainability within fashion is the vessel for it. It might be a painting that you decide to make. It might be a conversation, a poem. It might be a garment, but it's a vessel. And I think this is, for some designers that we've exhibited in this space, fashion is a vessel for them to talk about these conversations that they want to have with the world. It's a voice that goes beyond your own voice sitting and having a conversation, together. It lives on, if a garment is for the wearer, somebody buys that piece, they wear it, they remember what it means, they know what the story behind it is, the message. And I think, with your work, I think it's super, super important that we look at fashion as not only aesthetics, but also the message behind it, the storytelling, the sourcing, the materials where it comes from, because it's just as important as the way something looks. It's more important than the way something looks, sorry, that's what I should say. That is ultimately what I think any student or any creative fashion designer starting out now should be thinking about. Because in 5 to 10 years, everyone's going to be using dead stock. You need something else. What is it that you really want to say to the world? And use the medium of fashion to tell that. I think that's what you should always remember.
There's a lot of passion in the room, and I think I will give an open question in the round so one of you can pick it up. I feel like fashion, as you said, is a lot about emotions and about what people connect with garments, with like the haptic, how the fabric feels, and how clothes make you feel like. But if we think about sustainable fashion, people are always like, I'm not sure, like anxious or like they feel like they have to maintain a distance. They're very skeptical. They think it's not as pretty as like the rest of fashion because there's this sustainable
This narrative is so 20, I don't know, 14.
thing or new word for sustainable fashion because at the end it's just like being conscious about with what you get yourself around. It's just like going out, meeting people, choosing your friends or family. You go to the people that have the same passion that you like, where you feel comfortable with. And you don't like have to maintain a distance because one of them, I don't know, is sustainable or vegan or whatever.
I have a really simple question for a simple answer for that. How about we just call it fashion? How
Right.
about we call everything else unsustainable fashion?
Good
Because
work.
actually, what we are doing, what many of these designers do,
Good
is
work.
fashion.
That's
That is
it.
born out of passion, heritage, skills, bravery. It's everything else that
Good
isn't.
hand.
So you think that's amazing. So you think what lies ahead could be the rebranding of calling everything else unsustainable fashion? Because there is a big calling out culture out there. And I also feel that calling people out is the right solution. So if we think about unbranding fashion in some ways, but calling them out, do you think, or like you think it really helps? Or is there maybe we need another culture to just meet them where they are, get on a table, talk about the whys or maybe the fears behind their distance to the topic?
Well, I mean, you know my opinion about labels, so I'm totally with you. Well, I think and I hope that this will be the new normal fashion. Like, we don't need the labels anymore. And I think that the new generation is more aware than our generation back then was. And so I really hope for the best, but like, we will see what time brings. And even about calling out, I think this is something very important. And I think, like we always see it when some brands, they do cultural appropriation, and then Diet Prada calls them out, that they sometimes take the whole collection down or something, and then sometimes it works, you know. So I think maybe calling out is maybe the new thing to do on social media.
So maybe let's go back to telling stories and dreams. If your what lies ahead could be like a movie or a book or a dream with a very short title, how would it call?
I actually don't know. I really don't know. Put on the spot. Do you have a title?
Kindness?
Yeah.
I'm sure you do already.
I've got a few actually.
Got a
I
new
read
book?
a lot and I watch films, so yes. But right now, I think if it has to be something, it would be to think about kindness first, putting it center stage. In kindness to nature, kindness to people, to each other, to the people that buy, to the people that make, to the people that suffer, to the people that are happy. Just overall.
What do you think?
Yeah,
That's your title?
I mean, kindness is the word for me today, so I
There you
learned
go.
so much from you.
It's a trilogy. So
I'm not sure if I buy into it, so maybe we should ask.
Kindness 3.
Maybe we should get some other people into the conversation and ask the question to the room. What's your title for your What Lies Ahead? Is there anyone who want to answer the question for us? I mean, we have a trilogy, but maybe we want to have another chapter or movie. Quite tough crowd, tough question.
Thank you.
the end of the
I
day.
can only say one word.
No, a title can also have more words.
If I would have to
Good
choose
questions.
one, I'd say interconnectedness. It's something that has been brought up today a few times before. And I usually, when I say that word, I think of what Jane Goodall said. And it has, like, this quote kind of has been brought up today before that, like, whatever we do, we influence each other. And that, like, every choice we make has an effect on everyone and everything around us and should be considered in our choices.
That's amazing because I think that's the approach we need here for the future of sustainable fashion, or and generally for a diverse future that represents
fashion.
society as it is. So we need to collaborate and work together. And I see we have another movie here coming up.
Yes, I have also one word, and it's thinking. More thinking. Like, sit down with yourself, think what do you want, who you are, why you are using this, why you need that, where it's come from. Ask questions from, think about these things, think about the world, think about, I don't know, whatever. Ask questions and yeah, these kind of things. I think like maybe going to the answer, kindness and such.
So I think
Can I
that
just add to that?
you can actually ask whatever you want.
Because I think this idea of thinking, as you were saying, is super important, but also reflecting and taking that time to pause in an industry that is notoriously fast-paced.
Yeah.
You know, we try to slow down, you know, we change the fashion weeks, but ultimately there's an industry that still exists in the same way it did 10 years ago somewhere. You know, and we are trying to change things. This exhibition at the front of the space here, what we try to do is to create an environment where you really take the time to think and reflect. So coming from a design background, I understand that the processes of each of these designers is very unique, very, very different. You know, and there's a story behind the garment that's just hung there in the space. But as you come into the space, there's a sound. There's a sound that's created by somebody with aesthetica. There's a scent that's created with somebody with aesthetica. And using all of those senses in the space, it allows for this multi-sensory experience where you're really taking that time, you know, to reflect on what you're looking in front of you. And it's not just about the way it looks, but it's the stories. You take time to read the paragraphs that have been written, you know, and really sort of walk through this space. So for any of you in the audience who have never experienced something like that before, never experienced fashion like that before, I urge you to, you know, walk through the space if you haven't already. And hopefully, you know, things like this, if, you know, you are a designer, if you are a creative, if you're in communication even, to think about alternative ways of communicating this idea of thinking, you know, a thought process is super important, because sustainability is also so much about conversation, you know.
And I think like that's what we have to give you as a feedback back. Maybe we should all leave this room thinking about what lies ahead with a like exclamation, another question mark, and what we want from the future. But at the end of the day, everything starts with us, with our neighbor, with the person we interact with the people we care for. Like fashion or the future should be, we should see it as the person we like, and we want the best for this person at the end of the day. So we have to be kind. We have to be interconnected. We have to be thoughtful, because you cannot meet people with bad feelings or with disrespect if you want to create something with them. And I think all of us are here to like be part of the future, to be part of what lies ahead. And at the end, we only can do it as a community. So thank you for being here. Stay there. Explore the whole showcase space with all your senses. And yeah, thank you.
Wow, that's interesting. That Ursula is kind of basically quoting Bruno Peters, also, isn't it? I mean, such an important perspective, obviously, that fashion. I mean, sustainable fashion should just be called fashion, and
I've
everything
told
else
it
should
so
be
many
called
times
unsustainable
before.
fashion. Great stuff, I think.
And this is actually not exactly what he did. But could it be called upcycling quotes? I mean, it would fit to Ursula somehow, since she's like kind of the queen of upcycling, starting with her brand very early, in the early 90s, even when the term upcycling was not even there. But that would be a bit funny to discuss with her maybe next time.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think, yes, absolutely. I mean, we shouldn't just limit upcycling to clothes. I mean, upcycling quotes and ideas, I think, is a very good idea. I mean, if it's been out there and it's good, then we should repeat it. And I mean, fashion industry is famous for repeating. I mean, that's the baseline of marketing. So if we repeat positive kind of messages, I think that's just amazing ways of upcycling words and using them for a good purpose.
In a way, it's describing a vision, isn't it? And I mean, the vision is still there and still right. And I think also it's not too bad to put it in your own words, and also to twist it a bit around, because what actually Bruno Peters said in the interview I was having with my dear co-author Ellen Köhrer for our book Fashion Made Fair. He was stating that fashion should just be called fashion and not sustainable fashion, but he was not stating that every other fashion should be called unsustainable fashion. So this is something Ursula put to it. So
yes, she added kind of a bit the punishment thing idea. So like putting tax on it in a way. I mean, that's I think what she's about a lot anyway, highlighting the positive aspect, but also bringing in kind of quite radical ideas of how to phase out the bullshit and the negative things. And obviously, yeah, for her, and I mean, from our perspective, it's not too far away from it. There's a lot of
Did a good work.
unsustainable fashion, and one needs to question why is it actually still around.
you can actually read from her also in the book Fashion Made Fair if you want to, and also get to know some other ideas. We had really great people, and there's a lot of interesting thoughts in it. So if you have a bit of time, and if you haven't gotten the right Christmas present, so give yourself a
Presents? What? Let me just quickly.
All those things prove that those concepts are working. Or if you have a look at the concept of less seasons or being less seasonal, so like creating a range of bestsellers or like at least a wardrobe which you can have for a couple of seasons. When I look at the collection of Julia Leifert, so it's not that it's a piece where you say like, after 1 year I cannot wear it anymore. No? So invest in a coat that is maybe 1,500 euros, and you can wear this coat made in Austria, like wear for always almost 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. No? Or even you can, if the silhouettes change, you can go to the tailor and make it. You can adapt it a little bit, and also I see the format of the Fashion Week as a format that really is very contemporary. So the all those players together on one table, they made it possible that everything takes place within this 1 week. They made really short ways for the people, so you don't have to drive that long. So maybe also one of the decisions to go to Kant Garagen at Kantstraße was that it is much closer to premium, so the people don't have to shuttle all through the city to the other side of the city, and yeah, that saves a lot of time if you work during the Fashion Week and not just go only out in the evening as a consumer and take part of what Fashion Week brings you to Berlin. And also that is an effect that is for all the people that provide a venue, like if it's Telegrafenamt or if it's a bar like or something else, or a restaurant where the people do the meet and greet. At least from the economical side, the Fashion Week brings back some money into the city at least.
I mean, just one question, because we were hosting like the Foreign Fashion Show, and you were attending it as well, because it was one of the openings, or it was the opening show of the new format, newest, taking place in Kant Garage. And so, would you like to give our listeners some impressions from the show?
Yeah, that's very difficult, but at least I must say it's when you go to the Fashion Week, you go there without any with any expectations, and at least you see something in a very short period of time. It's like, I think it was less than 20 minutes, no? I think, and then you go with the impression of what you see into the evening on to the next show. So and at least this is what so if I imagine I would be a journalist from another city coming to Berlin, and then I see this as an opening show, then I'm then I have already another impression of a fashion week instead of going to commercial fashion weeks. So that are driven by designers that are in the market since 50 years, from Emporio Armani to Calvin Klein or whatever. And if this is an opening show for a fashion week and you are brought there as a journalist, then you know that you can expect something that you have never seen before, and you can present something to your readers that is not what they see all the time in the other magazines.
Right.
So that really makes a difference. And at least that is what a fashion week is for, to show the potential of a city next to all the well-established designers that everybody knows already in the world.
Yeah, that was really nice because I was doubting so often if a fashion show or like organizing a fashion show is actually like a contemporary format, or if we should think about other formats to present like the topic of sustainability and of course also independent and contemporary designers. But then after like seeing the show now last week, I was also I'm back and convinced back that the fashion show was actually a good format to actually give another picture, as you just said, to set another visual standard for a fashion week.
Yeah, and also to transfer a fashion show into whatever social media or on a website. It's much easier than preparing a showcase that is more like an exhibition or an art show from an artist. So I think the classic fashion show is still the format of presenting those, how it is worn on a human body.
Yeah. I really like, I mean, I just checked the pictures again and I really liked our cast. I think it was so nicely casted and also so nice and very like individual faces. I don't know if you felt the same, but I was so impressed by the models we had on the runway. And also on their diversity.
Yeah, and also that is like a
like
statement. Ne? So I of course I remember the Michalski's show where he had was one of the designers that started during Berlin with a model that was probably 60, 70 years old with gray hair, and that was like almost 10 years ago. This is kind of a in Berlin is kind of it doesn't surprise anyone anymore, but. For us, it's normal, and in the rest in the world, they are still like, "Oh, wow, this is totally different." No? And at least that should be the standard, as you said, in other cities as well. So, of course, they started in Paris and in London after all those things, and also, but it does not become the standard. It was like they jumped on this trend for once, and then they continue to go on to the next trend. So it doesn't become the standard that people are more diverse in those fashion show businesses.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really interesting point. But I always feel about Berlin in general. It's like, obviously, there's a lot of chaos here, etc. And people may complain about that, as I do myself sometimes when it's about the Berlin bureaucracy, etc. But at the same time, the city is so filled still with kind of a lifestyle of freedom, I would say, and an idea of a freedom, a democratic kind of based freedom. So that everybody is really experimenting a lot here and living these concepts, actually trying to bring sustainability concepts, be it in terms of diversity, inclusion, or be it in terms of ecological aspects, social aspects, cultural aspects, trying to really establish that in your personal, individual lifestyle every day. I think this is what makes Berlin so different. Yeah, it has all these experiments, but here there's people who are actually trying to live these experiments and not just kind of implement them from a marketing communication point of view.
Yeah, and also if you talk to people from Paris, it's a natural thing that the grass is always greener if you look to the neighbor's garden. Eh? But if you talk to people from Paris that were also here during Berlin Fashion Week, they say like, for the young and upcoming designers that are really small and independent still in Paris, it's impossible to take part in the way like the young designers take part in the Berlin Fashion Week, for example. So everything in Paris is focused on the big shows, on the big players. They have 47 shows there during the day, during the week, and all the journalists hunt from one show to another. Here, there's a lot of space and a lot of time to see all those new talents, the young talents, the small shows, the side events, the extra presentations with. So it is possible, and it is also affordable. So to be part of the fashion week and a premium and seek during this week in Berlin. In Paris, it's much more difficult than this.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to wrap up a bit, I mean, you just said in our first conversation, you just said that Berlin is back on the plate. So are you looking forward to the next fashion week, upcoming fashion week in July?
Yeah, especially this in summer, we can use all the outdoor venues and the rooftop terraces and the places next to the river. In winter, of course, everything is more busy because most retailers earn most of their profit or their turnovers during the winter season. So in summer, everything is a little bit more relaxed. It's a little bit less pressure, especially after the all those situations we had like during the last 2 or 3 years with all these things coming up from the war, the COVID. Now we have the economic difficulties. I think next summer will be a little bit more easier for everyone.
We hope so.
Yeah, it makes it also more relaxed because Berlin in summer is the place to be, at least.
I think so too. I'm very much looking forward to the next season as well. Just a last question from my side. What do you think? Would you think that sustainability got more visible during the last Fashion Week?
Yeah, at least it becomes a topic in everyone's collection. So at least if the people don't communicate it because they're afraid of greenwashing, because they are not 100% sustainable. But this is even better than being not sustainable or not thinking about it or just ignoring it. So I think everybody's working on it. And even if they don't put it on the sign and say like, here we are, so many designers, for them it's a standard. As the ones we talked already about it, I think they don't communicate it anyway. They communicate about their concept and their philosophy, and then you have to understand that this is a sustainable concept or philosophy. But of course, the big brands will have to have all their seals and their certifications, and we have the supply chain checked, and we have the new law in the future, and we will have it sooner or later also on the European level. And so from that part and aspect, I think sustainable is in the, it's really in the daily business. It arrived in the daily business.
I think so too. I mean, I really liked how Esther Perband was putting it in her presentation when she was telling that she is not 100% sustainable yet, but she wants everyone to join her journey to come towards more sustainable clothing and more sustainable materials and more sustainable collection. And this, I think, is really nice because, I mean, she's taking like everyone with her on her journey and also communicates very openly and transparent about where she's standing and where she's heading to and what her goal and where also like burdens or difficulties are lying on the way. And I was also very much impressed by her presentation. I don't know if you attended it, but I really liked it.
No, unfortunately not. But also the fact that the summit is not longer taking far away from the fairground, for example, it makes it much more easier. So when I arrived there on the second day in the morning, of course, and I was standing in front of the press lounge where there was the coffee truck, I met Florian there, and we were chatting for what happened yesterday, what will be the topic of the next day. So we saw huge groups of students coming from the university visiting the fair and visiting the summit, and at least this is what it is all about, to give the opportunity for everyone to take part at the Fashion Week, and also that all the consumers are able to go to the shops to be part of the Fashion Week and to it's not a closed door business anymore. So at least, of course, you cannot go to the fair when you're not a buyer or you're not a B2B visitor, but at least you can take part at the Fashion Week of all those events around, like the presentation of the Fashion Council in Kantgaragen was open to the public. So that means people can go there and experience which they never met before, probably, and which they will never see in retail or what they did back in the past together with KaDeWe. So they bring the Berlin designers into one of the most important department stores in Europe. So, and that makes it visible what we have here in that city. And at least this is the movement where
the
all
Web3
people have
partners
to push still, and also to invest a lot of work in the future, because at least it pays off.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, it's like the business. We were talking about that the business and retail business is changing. So, I mean, there's a lot more direct to consumer sales as well. So I think it's a relatively logical step to open up some of the formats, at least to Berlin Fashion Week or like fashion weeks in general, that you actually address your customers directly, because it's to them you sell your collections in the end.
I'm not sure if the consumer really needs it or if the retailer really needs it, but at least it's something where you should have an eye for the future on it. So it's the same like the metaverse fashion. So if everybody should try, and everybody will find a concept on his own. So like a lot of people say like, I don't invest in an own online shop, but I sell from my Instagram account directly to the people on the phone or via email. So it's a very simple solution, and social media made it happen that they are able to sell like this. And also, I can imagine that there would be formats same with the simplicity that you can have imagine going to a concert. Now you buy the merchandise and the records directly on the booth in front of the concert hall. So maybe this could be a very simple solution.
I mean, we're running out of time slowly, but is there anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, at least I think Berlin has still a very high potential, and there are so many people that work on that from season to season. If it's rather the people from Platte, which we didn't mention now here, and there was also that little, and let's say, kind of a scandal where they produced the critical show about Adidas, or where the activists went to the show from Anja Gockel, and yeah, you saw that there is still every season something that really keeps the people going to do that, to work on that, to come up with new ideas. We had that new sustainable format, unfortunately, very far outside in the area of Tempelhof, in the garden ateliers. So I think there's still a lot of things to come, and but the only thing is that the people need to take the time and go to visit it. So I would appreciate it that more retailers from everywhere, not only in Germany, also back in the days there were a lot of people coming from the Netherlands or coming from Eastern Europe. So this time I did a panel talk for the embassy of Poland. That was really nice. A lot of people were attending that. It was a very high spirit for sustainable fashion and for circularity, which could solve the problems of this industry. And yeah, and this morning I read in a press release from Circulation that their customer as Oliver Group started a circular denim program. So, and you see, if players like this with a 1 billion turnover per year starts a circularity program in their denim range, then I think it's the right sign that is going out from the Fashion Week here in Berlin.
So things are actually changing, I think. We can really hold on to that, maybe carefully still, but I would say that that is the science we see, and especially here in Berlin, which I think is amazing, because I mean, this is also worldwide, the criticism still that not much has happened, but I think now we are at this tipping point. And I also feel like the German industry is finally really waking up, and I have hope that they kind of, once they do that, really, they also will do things a bit more properly, as sometimes the Germanness kind of allows to. But maybe the first wrapping up really here, I feel from what you say, Kai, and I guess Magdalena, we both tend to agree. A lot of things have changed, and there's a really nice atmosphere of working together. I think this is a really important baseline for the Berlin Fashion Week at the moment. There's all the stakeholders, and most of the stakeholders have a really strong interest of working together and making it an experience for all the other stakeholders that come to the Berlin Fashion Week. Yeah, I think this is the really interesting development, to see that this unification of stakeholders is happening, and that there is more openness to kind of collaborate. And I hope that this way can be continued, because as we also discussed today, there's a few things that could be even better, and we can still integrate more and maybe have a few more bridges between the different pillars that are establishing now. But first of all, I think, yeah, it's a really positive dynamic, and I hope that collaboration can be the key to make it even more positive.
I do believe we're overcomplicating it, the fashion industry. I've always believed that. Every time I'm looking at these certification programs and even what IGFA does, and yeah, all of this is just not even greenwashing. It's more of like people trying to keep themselves busy, and nobody wants to. Be busy. Everyone wants to be free. Mass balance. How about that? Mass balance. So many people don't know about fashion industry's complexities. Just consume. Even those that work on the top. I mean on the top as in like distribution channels, retail buyers. A lack of knowledge. Lack of interest too. People think it's sexy to work in the fashion industry. I don't know, maybe not anymore, but generally. But really, it's very dark place to be. So stupid, this too. Oh, that's what mass balance is. Oof. Ouch. I don't like. Can you imagine someone is writing this document? UN people. I'd die. would be so much easier if there was one country, right? One trade agreement, one, education system, one, it's 11/11, 1st of February, one healthcare system. I think it's so logical. And all these different tribes, of course, but still one single, UBI. We all agree that we don't need to separate anymore. We have become global enough to make it happen. (2020) I wonder what people still learn in schools in fashion these days, in the fashion business, what FIT teaches. I wonder if the textbooks are still ancient. This formatting of information is really reminding me of textbooks. Empty pages. Good times, this document. So little list. Simple. I like. But you know what really triggers me is the fact that there are so many different organizations and blah 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 and claims and pledges and blah 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 blah. And we just need one. Somehow. Cute website, finance, EU. So cute. Yo, just go with English, okay? It's fine. Sustainable finance. I think about digital money. Okay. Can I go? Will I be removed from this? Can you imagine? I call you. I say, what exactly are your plans with digital euro? Which technology are you going to be based in, building it on? Can you imagine? Will you allow me? What? How come MS is not there? Oops. Poor full moon. Good times. I'm attending this EU conference. So cute. EU is so cute. EU is super, super cute. Can I be a president of EU as a Metaslav? And a high priestess of EU. Oh my god, so much text. Can you imagine? Someone wrote it till they die. Who has the attention span to read it? 65-year-olds? Is there one person who read it in this whole world? How long it took them, this book? But you know, I'll download it. I'm saving up some documents to read for the time of the no internet. The dark age. It's funny how, you know, they have space for other things. 2 more at least. Not funny, but how it is. quite a lot. You know, I really wonder how these people feel about their jobs, about the garments that they're making, about their life generally. Like, how are they feeling? What are the feelings? What are the thoughts they are thinking while they're creating these garments? What's the energy they're sending with the creation? It's people who are also wanting to be free from this system. Oh, this is a way too big of a document, 95 pages. Recommendations. So many empty pages. Wow, what a book. 2011? Ouch. I'm very grateful for these documents. How else I would... This is a good gift, you, GFA.
you don't have one answer, and that's the thing, because you have different ways of wearing clothes. So you were mentioning, for example, you have those highly durable classic items that you love, your coat, your like sweater, your pair of like jeans that you absolutely adore, and you want it to like age with you, and you want to like keep them forever. Those items, you own them, right? For the things that are a bit more like trendy, that actually run through the different seasons, you probably want to rent it or access it. And for the things that are like those durable items, once you don't want them anymore, but they're not really broken in any way, you just emotionally you're not that attached to it anymore, you can resell them because they still have value. So there's a lot of different ways to actually do that. If you have something you haven't used for a while, swap it with a friend or put it on eBay. When it comes to renting and actually accessing clothes without owning them, you have platforms like Rent the Runaway in the US, White Closet in China. They have millions of active subscribers. They've been raising millions or hundreds of millions of dollars in private equity and venture capital, and are doing very good business out of it. And on a more like micro level, when you look at behavior from millennials, so 16, 17-year-old, they have a tendency to swap item quite naturally and to actually go in store just to experience and take like pictures of potential outfit and just enjoy the fun of the store. But actually the real behavior is in like exchanging clothes and mix matching with your friends. So you really see that happening at scale.
Cute little archive piece, dear Ellen MacArthur Foundation. Super cute. Look, I always argue that fashion industry can be a model for other industries to follow, and that includes food supply systems and other production related systems. Perishable, non-perishable. But I do argue that we have to become vegan as humanity. Otherwise, we just can't sustain the demand of animal products. UBI is the answer, really, to stop companies from grabbing our lives from us. People have to be conscious first. In order for people to be conscious, they need to become vegan. Really, it's important. Vegan, free of alcohol, clean water. I would say clean water, vegan, free of alcohol. And no sugar or caffeine. Try it. Everyone can do it. Yeah, you don't need to use dishwasher. God, so basic. What's this? Google, you're stupid.
We're seeing significant breakthroughs, things that looked like science fiction 5 or 6 years ago, that
2018.
today are commonplace. Computers can beat humans at Go, the board game. They can recognize what's in an image better than a human can. They can translate between most languages better than humans can. They can transcribe speech, whatever you think of your Siri or Alexa in general, better than a human can.
Completely useless. I'm very smart.
One of the nice things about AI is that far from stealing our jobs, it's actually giving workers superpowers. So two of my favorite examples, they're very different. At the top is using a machine learning system to help radiologists to faster and more accurately identify, score, and mark up tumors, giving them more time to be good radiologists. And at the bottom, we've got this chair that was co-designed with an AI system. So in this case, the designer came out and said, look, these are my constraints. This is my materials budget, which was a cost budget, but equally it could have been an environmental footprint budget. And these are some chairs that I'm inspired by. And the machine was able to go off and explore the space of possibilities in a way that a human couldn't search that space, and come up with something that was manufacturable and met the design parameters. And then the human could go off and select and tweak, and that's what we have at the bottom.
So we looked at examples of design in the food and agriculture sector, and there was a really cool example case study we did on a company called Notco, who are producing alternatives to animal-based proteins. Their first product is a mayonnaise, and they use AI to rapidly prototype different recipes for these alternatives. And what's really cool about it is the algorithm can come up with really novel flavor combinations, which a human might not come up with, to as closely as possible match the color, the texture, the taste of the actual product, with the aim to make it as close to the original product as possible.
What is the alternative to a mobility system where cars are utilized at 2%? We could imagine a system that is well planned, where fleets are managed, where public transports and individual transport are well integrated, where transport is shared. And we could summon a car just with our smartphone as we need it on demand. Just imagine, the system would monitor traffic, it would predict demand ahead of time, it would manage vehicle servicing and charging, and allow predictive maintenance. Those cars could be used for 500,000 to 1 million kilometers, as opposed to 200,000, 400,000 kilometers today. At the end of one use cycle, 40% of the parts could in fact be recovered and
I'm bored, so that's why I need to do some other activity. Um, you definitely should have figured that out. Can't zoom in properly. Collaborating with Google, but that doesn't help to make your user experience feel proper. So sad. $2019. I'm right. I'm so smart. I'm so shocked how smart I am. Should be blue. Super cute how quick they grow. Wow. Someone give me a sperm so I can have a child. And shut up first. Honestly, I'm looking for sperm. At this point, I'm like, yeah, that's all I need.
My name's Ryan Mariasin, and I am founder of Petit Pli, clothes that grow with your child. Through the clothes that they
Nice.
wear, as well as raising a future generation of clothing. Did you know that the best way of reaching our water, waste, and carbon emission targets by 2030 is actually to reduce consumption of our clothing that we have today, that we buy? Then we will be higher fashion industry, from crops, physical engineer, and a designer, to pinpoint problems and pinpoint fashion industry.
Show me more merch.
The garment that then create clothes.
Show me.
See how we can customers a more advanced
Makes a
product
lot of sense.
with better fabrics using ripstop technology, and we're packaging that in a garment.
But also it feels terrible on the skin, am I right?
That doesn't last 2 months, but brands. We're building a deeper and deeper understanding to help inform the products of the future. Just children's wear. To actually benefit key to what we do. We aren't those problems which we can share with the world.
Showy shoes. What a color selection. Quite illegal to use in my country right now. Okay, this I don't have like patience for this website, but it's super nice. So, collecting. I don't understand what you're offering. Packaging? Tomato ketchup. What are you trying to sell? Deposit. It's for packaging, huh? We don't need razors. Oh, look, we don't need this. Yeah, change your lifestyle first, and then, you know, the industries will follow. Both ways. Have to also be very smart if we're really claiming to be leading circular economy, then we have to really help people make better decisions, be educating them about what's, you know, what's to be hyped about, how to change lifestyles. So cute. Don't have notifications anymore for Telegram. Feels so nice. Only like other private messages. It, look, the statistics. And then I don't know where to stay when I'm in Europe, so like better stay in the freaking office then or something. Let's refurbish all the offices into co-living spaces. How about that? Not this kind of living places, but offices are fine. You just need to refurbish everything. I can help design it, curate the right agencies to get out the right vibes for this co-living. Yeah, that would be so good, right? Like, nobody needs offices anymore, really. Just co-working, co-living spaces is fine. Co-living and co-working in one building is also fine, could be that. Top floors for co-living, bottom floors for co-working. Doesn't have to be co-living, but you know what I mean. Apartments. These are really good for education, right? Access versus ownership is a good one. You know, they're keeping us busy with all these narratives. Look, I mean, like, I'm not against this narrative at all. That's why I'm spending all this time with you. But generally, they're just keeping us busy and distracted. From what? We'll see. We will see. Cute phone. Good. I mean, I'm quite happy with this. Right? I'm extremely smart. Can't even handle myself sometimes how smart I am. Do we see it already? Oh yeah, it's I already copied it. Organization is also skill. Okay, we saw this. Okay, finally we're moving on. Basically, they're using the same ideas in different formats. Just cute. 2020. Wait, where's in the text in these lists? Am I missing something? Okay. I had to ask. Good collection of brands. I'm a little bored and tired. It's a big document. It's a huge document, actually. Check this out. So big. 17 megabytes. Good times though, good work. Make fashion circular. 2019, 2021. Yoel and MacArthur Foundation, you're really making it well. I'm grateful for you. Okay, we've seen that. Is it Dutch or Swedish? Swedish. GFA. Who still works for GFA? Let's see. Jonas I've met New York 2018 or so. Faith. We like each other on Twitter, even though I'm not on Twitter anymore that much. Can you take me? New team. I will die if I work at such jobs. I will just die, or yeah, I'm not healthy to be around people like this. Not. Cute design, nice colors. I don't want to open them all. Remaking. It's a good one. God, 78 pages. What's up with the information overload today, you and I? Though. 2021. Oh well. Super cute. Oh well, now you know my location. So cute this. Okay, we're not gonna go into the shops right now. I just want to make sure that we can close some of these. Who designed this? Okay, no, my loves. I'm out of energy. Have to see it later. I don't, you know, I'm a robot, but I'm also getting tired. It's the same. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's it for now.